Girl, Kimmy done let Maurice drag her into a conversation to make her look even more like a side chick. Is y'all ready to talk about this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville? Let's talk about it.
Oh yes, bitches and hoes. I'm back.
I drop a player like it's nothing, it ain't working out. Now no debate or for discussion, bitch, I'm walking out. My time is money, I ain't loving, let you toast it out. Flip my weave and walk it out. Look how I just bossed it out. Now come on, baby, why you bugging? We can't talk it out. I keeps it moving, I ain't tripping, lost another spouse. I'm just a boss, it's in my blood, no, I won't scream or shout. Grabbing my keys.
Girl, what's going on? We about to talk about this Love and Marriage Huntsville, child, because it was a mess. Let me just say this. Maurice, Martel, and Marceau are three of the same type of men, but it's now showing, as his slip is showing, that Maurice is the worst of them all. I don't care what nobody say. Martel could have had 50 babies on that girl, Mel, and doggone, what's the other one name? Marceau could have had 50 affairs on Tisha. But what's coming out about Maurice is worse than them all. Say what I said. And you know what? It's always the quiet ones. Everybody think their marriage is so perfect and whoop. Now he done dragged this girl into a conversation that making her look even more like a side chick. But Kimmy, we already feel like you a side chick, so it's not that big of a deal. Like, girl, let's get into this episode because there was a lot going on. So now the episode opens up where we left off. Kimmy and Maurice still arguing because basically Kimmy and Kaya will put Maurice on the hot seat, by telling him he's not doing his job as a father. So what does he do? Pivot, deflect, and throw it back on Kimmy and make it seem like it's a Kimmy and Kaya issue. It is not. Maurice, you don't like to be held accountable. And then instead of you dealing with what you need to deal with to be a better father to your son, you turned around and flipped it on Kimmy. And Kimmy, you took the bait because he wouldn't have been able to deflect that on me like that. I'm sorry. He's over there talking about they need to still have a conversation, her and Kaya, about their issues because they have issues. Like Kimmy said, there is no issues. We had our little issue or whatever. It was in the past. It's in the past. Why are we talking about that now? But he feels like they owe apologies because he said basically Kimmy said that she was owed an apology way back in the gap and they did a flashback. But, it's just like she's over it. Kaya was over it. Why are you trying to rehash it? It just doesn't make sense. She said they have a relationship because they're raising monster and that's all they need. That's true. Like they don't need to do all of that back and forth. But he want her present for all the future meetings and says that, he want her to have a meeting with Kaya. And Kimmy, like I said, he wouldn't have been able to deflect that and throw that on me. I'm sorry. I would have been like, I'm not meeting with nobody. But it's obvious Kimmy doesn't have a voice in this relationship. That's just what it is. But basically, Kimmy brings up the fact that Kaya perpetuated a lie about her being a side chick. Kimmy, you are a side chick. Listen, y'all can't have it both ways. Let's talk. Can we talk? Let's talk. Y'all can't have it both ways. On one setting, y'all will turn around and say, but this person was still legally married, so that's cheating. Okay, cool. Well, if he was still legally married when you was dating him and sleeping with him and having him have parties at your doggone office and all of that, then you was a side chick. It's just what it is, but who cares? Y'all married now. I don't understand why she's still on this whole, I was a side chick, and she trying to perpetuate it. How did Kaya perpetuate it when Kaya don't even be on social media? The fans is looking at the facts and saying, okay, yeah, you was a side chick. Kaya ain't had nothing to do with that. And you know what's crazy? At the beginning, I thought Kaya was really like bitter or whatever. But now I understand, Kimmy, you doing too much. You doing too much. You know what I'm saying? But she's trying to basically say that there was a lack of integrity. That's why they having the issue that they had. Girl, bye, Kimmy. Guy, bye. It's just ridiculous. But he asked Kimmy if she told that to Kaya, and she said no. And he said, well, you need to deal with it, and you need to talk to her and have a conversation. So now they get to arguing about his approach, and she compare him doing business with somebody and feeling like it was shady and not doing business again. So she feels like that's what it is. But he ain't buying it. He ain't going, and he wants you to have another meeting, and basically you get up and walk away because you feel like he don't listen to nothing you say, and he don't. Like, duh. And you gonna go have the meeting. I wouldn't have had no meeting. Because you getting up talking about he don't listen to you, and she feel like he doing everything to protect Kaya and monster image, but don't protect hers. Well, you married him. That's your husband. That's your husband. It is what it is. But he's going to set up a meeting for them to get together and talk about it over lunch, brunch, or dinner. I don't know. But she said this is all the reason, and all this stuff is happening basically, I'm sorry, because of him. Girl, bye. This is all happening because you are allowing it, period. Because how they say, the old saying go, a man will only do what you allow him to do, and you are allowing him to lead you down into the ground. Okay? Say what I said, girl. This is a lot. It's messy. And Maurice, you ain't worth a dime neither. Let's move on to the next scene. So now we get to the next scene, and it's the girls, what's their name? Mila and Misa. What's the little girl's name, girl? Either way, don't they look just like Marceau? Jesus Christ. They're beautiful little girls, but Marceau face is facing, girl. Marceau is in them children. He can't deny them to say what I said, but nevertheless, they have their own little hairline. They're, kind of like hair products for their hair, and they're starting a business early. Shout out to Tisha for starting the girls off early with a business. I'm all here for it. Now, what's the girl name? Kiki stopped by with some food for the girl. She went and brought McDonald's for the churn so that she can have a conversation with Tisha and figure out what's been going on, because apparently Kiki been MIA, missing in action. But anyway, so Kiki and Tisha have a sit down, and Kiki feels some type of way because she feels like she hadn't told her about the tea about her getting the keys to the city. And Tisha was like, girl, look, I've just been busy. It ain't been nothing like that. But they get to talking about her sobriety and her being like, coming out of the sober house. And Kiki explains to us that she did an outpatient thing, and now she's taking methadone, I believe it is, to get her, wean her off of whatever it was she was on. And Tisha was like, isn't that like kind of like trading one issue for another? And she was like, yeah, but she kind of struggles with it. She said, but she's ready to get off and be 100% sober. They're going to deal with it. But Tisha go ahead on and apologize to her about not inviting her to see her get the keys to the city. And basically says that she's gonna invite her and wants her to be there and apologize. Okay, this is all for nothing, because as we gonna see here in the future, girl ain't even gonna show up. But I'm moving too fast. Let's move on. Now Kimmy and Mel goes down to this spot where they gonna be contracting her stomach to make her look like she did 30,000 sit-ups or feel like it. I don't know, girl. I wouldn't trust that, girl. That sounds ridiculous. What? I know it don't work. It can't work. It just don't make no sense. Some things are just left to be regular or whatever. Nevertheless, so they get to talking about her chemo and how she's off of all of that and she's doing so well, and how she hadn't started back working out yet, so she's ready to get on this doggone table and let these people pump her stomach up and down. Girl, crazy. But anyway, she get to talking about how her and Monster and Maurice been having their issues, and she feels like Monster and Maurice haven't been helping out like that. Even though he's 16, he hasn't been helping her out around the house. Basically, Kimmy been around that house doing and being as she was even prior to having her illness, and Maurice and Monster is expecting her to do the same thing. None of them really cares about this woman, and I don't mean in the sense of like care at all. I mean like about her well-being, because bad enough we already saw a doggone interview where Maurice said even though his wife was going through chemo, he expected her to still turn over and have sex with him. Girl, that was the most disgusting thing I ever heard in my life, but that's just the type of men we dealing with, okay? But anyway, yeah, so she's over there saying how none of them children helping her, and neither is Maurice. And it was kind of hard for her. But again, that's your husband. That's your husband. But anyway, she get to telling Mel about Maurice wanting them to sit down and have a meeting with Kiowa, or her and Kiowa. And she said, she feel like it ain't nothing to work out, but Maurice feels like it is. But she feels like Kiowa is not saying nothing about her being a side chick. Again, it is not Kiowa's job to clear your reputation, period. But she's claiming that when she was with him, they hadn't signed the papers yet. But Kiowa thinks that feels like they was gonna reconcile while Kimmy had came into the picture. Probably, not even possibly, probably, because Maurice is a doggone manipulator. Probably. He probably was playing both sides when y'all was dating. And he probably didn't know if he really wanted to leave his wife or if he wanted to be with you. And it probably at the last minute of the last hour, he turned around and said, well, I'm going to just go be with Kimmy. That's probably what happened. I don't believe that it didn't happen that way. And I believe that Kiowa has every reason to feel like you a side chick, even though she never called you one. But she has every reason to feel like she a side chick. You need to be checking Maurice, not doggone Kiowa. You need to be having meetings and conversations with Maurice about the timeline, not Kiowa. She is not the person that's supposed to protect your image. Your husband and you are supposed to protect your image, not this woman. Anyway, because you got her husband, period. But anyway, Mel get to talking about Martel, and here we go again. Listen, let me tell y'all something. I picked up on this a long time ago. Mel knows how to manipulate her audience. She does. She knows that them millimeters, the middle-aged women who's, scorned, she knows that the millimeters is going to activate like this, and it ain't going to take much. All she got to do is use them buzzwords, them trigger words, them trigger languages, like, oh, Martel is battling me for my children, trying to take my children away from me. I caught on to it. And you know what's most annoying and disappointing about this? Mel knows exactly what she's doing, and she knows that what she's doing is triggering her audience. And I feel bad for the audience because I don't think they recognize it. I don't think that the millimeters recognize that Mel activates and does this stuff on purpose, triggering your own trauma. There's a thing called celebrity worship syndrome. I'm going to get into that on one of these doggone occasions when I have time to actually sit down and put it together. But I feel like a lot of people are dealing with that, and Mel knows what she's doing. But let's get back to the commentary. So anyway, she get to sitting down telling her about how Martel won't file papers for custody, or he went down there to file papers for custody. And Kimmy made the most profound statement when she said, it's hard because that's their daddy. You got to meet in the middle. Listen, this is what this is all about. I don't care who y'all a fan of, or is anybody thinking about the children. Everybody is Team Martel, Team Mel. What about the kids? You cannot have a co-parenting relationship, especially when the court's directed, without having conflict, or not even conflict, conversations and contact with your baby daddy. That's not how this works. I understand that she might feel like she's been stalked. I understand that she might feel like she's been, harassed and all of this. But at the end of the day, per the courts, you have to be in contact with your children's father. Not to mention, it's in the best interest of the children. It's not our fault you chose Martel. It's not our fault, but that's the father of all your kids. This is not rocket science, y'all. This is literally not rocket science. And I don't understand why everybody is having so many issues with knowing and seeing this. For the kids' sake. Take Martel out of it. Take Mel out of it. For the kids' sake, them children need both of their parents in their life. Period. And in order for that to happen, Mel is going to have contact with Martel. If he's stalking you, call the police. File a report. If you feel like he's doing something out of the way, document it. Bring it down to the court. But at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, you have to have an active relationship of some sort with this man, because y'all have 4 beautiful children together. I'm not saying that she should be put under no type of stress, because I know that's what y'all gonna climb in the comments and saying, well, what's she supposed to do? Just get stalked and harassed? No, I am saying call the police. That's what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, you cannot cut off communication with your baby daddy when y'all got 4 kids to raise together. Period. I'm just saying. Y'all can feel how y'all want to feel. This is the facts. This ain't feeling. This is the facts. She has to have a relationship with them. And Kimmy said it the best. You got to meet in the middle because that's their daddy. Period. I mean, what else you want to do? Get him knocked off? I don't know. But other than that, you done. You stuck with him at least till little sugar mama make 18. That's just what it is. Let's move on, child. So now we at the next scene. Tisha getting her hair braided. She's excited that she just received the keys to the city. And Kiki wasn't there. You did all of this, Kiki, going over there talking about you keeping secrets from me. You ain't tell me you was getting the keys to the city. And she invited you to see her get the keys to the city. And Kiki didn't show up. Girl, this is a headache. I ain't gonna lie. This is literally a headache. But anyway, Tisha said, she mad that Kiki didn't show up. And she said Kiki always let her down and she ready to move forward without Kiki. Well, go ahead on and move forward at this point. Just go ahead on and be by yourself, girl. Just because y'all cousins don't mean y'all got to be around each other. Move forward, okay? So now Kiki walks in with her hot flash. She's talking about she getting hot. And I think I talked about this earlier about them choosing her choosing outpatient and ready to do, her get her sobriety all the way up to 100%. Nevertheless, Tisha confronts her about not showing up to the doggone thing. Kiki said basically she ain't have no ride. She's sorry. It ain't her fault. She would have been there, but she ain't had no ride. I guess everybody took their cars. And I don't know. Maybe Kiki don't have a car. I don't know what the situation is. But Tisha feels like she tired of her letting her down and was like, girl, I'm about to just basically remove you out of my life. Why we got to keep announcing our moves? Why can't we just do it? I don't understand. I get you hurt, Tisha. Just move in silence, girl. Just stop answering the phone. Stop dealing with her. But Kiki went to apologize and say, I'm sorry. And Tisha feels like it's always an excuse. But then Tisha turns around and invites her to the Black Business Expo. Girl, you talking about the comeback group thing? Girl, please. I think not Kiki, Tisha is just inviting any and everybody because she needs heads at the place. Girl, all right, you're going to be let down again. Well, she might come if the camera's there. I don't know. Maybe she didn't come to the other one because the cameras wasn't there. But anyway, she invited her to the comeback group / Black Business Expo, and Kiki says she going to be there. We'll see when it comes down to it. Let's move on. So now here we go, activating the millimeters again. Melanie goes by Nell and Chris Fletcher house. She goes over there. Apparently, in Martel, you're down bad for this, you peanut head bastard. I'm just saying. But he had all his friends and family subpoenaed to go down there to the courthouse and ain't tell nobody nothing. Nell and Chris felt some type of way because they was like, girl, we didn't know nothing about all of this. Next thing you know, we getting subpoenaed. We didn't like that. I'm with you, Nell. I'd have felt some type of way too. And Chris, I'd have called that fool and said, fool, don't you ever do this to me again. Like, what are y'all doing? But anyway, they get to talking and they said the court was a big showdown. Basically his mama said she ain't like that they had to go to court, but his mama came in there and apparently whatever she said wasn't conducive for Martel. But they having a situation, they having this conversation, and Martel and Miss Marlene is having a conversation as well. And we're going to get to their conversation, but I'm going to stick to this one for now. Nevertheless, so Mel get to talking about the people he subpoenaed didn't help him out in court at all, which was them two and his mama. And Mel goes on to tell Chris that he did a good job and he was just honest and answered all of the questions. Now, Chris brings up the fact that Martel's house is under contract. So Mel was like, oh, that's probably why he wanted me to pay for his attorney fees because he ain't got no money. But she didn't know that he was selling his house. Nell asked if he's broke, and she was like, probably, girl, because he asking me for money trying to get in my coin and my finances. Martel, you a BAN, and everybody know what that is. If that's exactly what you're trying to do, trying to get in this girl pockets. Be a man and stand on your own 2 feet. Like she said, he's used to being in the luxury of a 2-income household, and maybe he fell off his feet. But at the end of the day, this is how it is now. Chris said he tried to warn him and tell him that, look, when you go through marriage, it's going to be a whole lot, or divorce, it's going to be a whole lot that's going to change in your life. Nothing is going to be the same. He basically told Martel that, but Martel is hard-headed. We know that. And that's why if he is broke, he deserved to be. Period. But anyway, she don't feel like he need to be in her pockets and he don't need to get her money. I'm with you on that, Mel. I'm with you on that. Now, on the flip side, Martel and Miss Marlene is having the same conversation, and Martel is mad because he says his mama should have basically stuck it to them. Why she didn't get up there and say all the things that was going to make him look good. Girl, Miss Marlene did right by not getting up there lying for your ass, because that's what you wanted her to do. She didn't want to get up there and lie. Miss Marlene didn't want nothing to do with being in the middle of that BS. But if you ask me, Miss Marlene don't feel like probably you should have them churn for full time anyway, because you probably ain't just as good of a, you know what I'm saying? Like, you probably not doing what you need to do full time anyway. But I don't know. I ain't there. I ain't trying to cast no stones. Nevertheless. But he's disappointed in his mama and everybody because nobody stuck up for him. And he said he didn't want to go to trial, but he said Mel wanted to go to trial. Now, the mama said that, didn't she try to tell you that y'all wanted to do a custody thing 6 months on, 6 months off? And he was like, yeah, but he was like, I can't go a whole week without my kids. Why would I do 6 months on and 6 months off? I believe that could have been possibly said. Now, I don't know if it was said for sure, but I believe in the heat of anger or in frustration, it could have possibly been said. Like, I just see things like truthfully. I'm not trying to sit up here and take nobody's side because I don't have a dog in this fight. Neither do everybody else. So we got to be honest. So he's saying that she wanted to do 6 months on, 6 months off, and that's why they was in the court. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, and I feel like it's just a lot. But on the flip side now, Mel is telling Nell that that's not true, that they went into court because she went to send him to court for harassment. They was going to court for him harassing her, and at the last minute, he dropped that he wanted to do doggone a custody hearing, and he wanted to be a full-time parent and get full custody. What? I don't even know how that works, because this is a genuine question. I don't know if somebody in the comments can help me out. If y'all going to court for another issue and he drops another petition to get full custody, how does that affect the court hearing y'all were there for? Like, this is an honest, genuine question. Like, how does that affect why they're there in the first place? I really need to know. And I promise I'm only asking because that still should have, that first court hearing or court appearance that y'all was going to initially, that still should have been taking place. And if that can happen to just completely cut off that court hearing, maybe I heard it wrong. I don't know. I just need some answers. Nevertheless, but she said that's why they went to court, because he wanted to try to get full custody. And she said, what else she said? She said she has, this is the buzzwords, trigger words. They need to put trigger warnings whenever she get to talking like this. She goes on to say she had to go to war for her babies that she love and care for every day. And, you know, she didn't think that was right, that she had to go to war for her babies. These are the buzz and the trigger words to get everybody to tap into their own issues that they've had in the past, their own, you know, scorn past that they had, and just automatically go into attack mode on anybody that says any and everything about Mel. This is what she's doing. This is not a negative thing I'm saying about Mel, but I'm just telling you the truth. That's what she's doing. Because at the end of the day, I get it. You feeling like you have to go to war for your babies and all that, but that's his babies too. And this is another thing. In the black community, we have such a high rate of black fathers not being in their children's lives. I never for the life of me understand why when black women get a man who want to be in their children's life, and this is not about Mel, I'm just talking about in general. When black women finally get a man who want to be a father in their kid's life, why do y'all give them such the hardest time? There are so many mothers out here that wish that their kid's father would at least come pick them up. And when we finally get black men who want to be in their children's lives, the mothers a lot of the times, not all the times, but a lot of the times give them the hardest time. And I never understood that. I never understood it. Like I said, it's just asinine. Let's move on, because I know y'all gonna get triggered in the comments. Anyway, now Chris said he warned Martel about all of this going on, and Nell asked her who won in court. Mel said nobody, because the judge basically said that he has the best interest for the kids and Mel doesn't. This is what I think, and this is why I think the judge said that. Because when you turn off your phone or block him, or he has no way to communicate with you, and Martel has the lines of communication open, this is just a fact. It looks and appears to the courts that you are not willing to be a willing participant in the co-parenting thing. That's the way it looks. You cannot turn off all communications to this man when y'all have to co-parent. You can't. And I know that's gonna gloss over everybody's head, because she gonna use the trigger words again. He was harassing me, he was stalking me, and the judge didn't see that. All the judge said was, trying to take his side. And look at Mel. Oh, he must have been trying. The judge must have been feeling sorry for Martel. I'm sorry. No, the judge ain't feel sorry for Martel. The judge didn't feel sorry for Martel. The judge said if the order is he has to have the communication with you, and you have to have communication with him, and you violate that, then yes, you are wrong. Mel says she want to go back and appeal it. Them people gonna say the same thing. And then furthermore, if he's all this harassing and stalking Mel, why, when you brought that up in the court, if y'all actually went to court about that, shouldn't that be on the record? Like, shouldn't that be documented so that could work in your favor? None of this makes sense. But she's over there hollering that the judge ain't open her mouth about him harassing her. And basically the judge sided with Martel. Now, I saw when Mims, Make It Make Sense, did a video about that and said that that's what the court paper said. The millimeters attacked that boy. Y'all wrong for that. Because she literally just corroborated what he said. Like, y'all wrong for that. But y'all could... Girl, look, let me stop. Anyway, but she want to appeal, and Martel said the judge made her give him her number when they left the courthouse. Now, Martel, you probably are stalking and harassing her. That's why I'm saying Mel needs to go to the police. Every time you see that, call the cops, get it documented. So when you go into court, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have your documentation. Hey, here, this is the proof. This is what he's doing. Is there any other way that we could communicate? Don't they have you know what? I just thought about it. They have a co-parenting app. I don't know if y'all know that. My friend and her husband or ex-husband is doing it. You can communicate through the app, and it's just like a WhatsApp or something. Do something like that. Because Martel is giving stalker tease because he misses family. And I'm not discounting that he's not doing it. He probably is doing it. What I'm saying is, go to the police, get it documented, call the cops whenever you see it, have him arrested. Like, do whatever you got to do. But you cannot go into court and violate the court's order just because you feel like, or you saying something happened that you can't prove, or you haven't proved, obviously, if the judge sided with him. Ladies, it is very, very important. Listen to me. It is very important. It is extremely important that when you see something, you call the police. I don't care if you feel like they ain't gonna do nothing. Get it documented. Call the police. Stop just calling your lawyers. No. The lawyer can't have him arrested. Call the police. Okay? This is the only thing that's gonna help you in situations like this. Because if in fact he is stalking and harassing her, which I believe he probably is, because we done seen him follow her on a date. We done seen him do that on the doggone TV screen. So he probably is around and harassing the girl. Call the police. Don't entertain it. Don't speak. Don't call the police. That is the best advice I can give any woman out here that's listening to the sound of my voice. Call the police. That's it. Anyway, Mel says she's gonna appeal it, girl. I don't think you're gonna win it, but let's move on. So now Kimmy sits down with Kiowa after being forced by Maurice. Girl, ain't no way. But anyway, she sits down with Kiowa to discuss two things. One, how her meeting went with Monster, and then two, about her not helping up for her being a side chick. Girl, look, let's get into it. Kimmy asked her how her meeting was with Monster, and Kiowa basically said, I talked to him and he needs his mama. So I'm gonna make a way and try to figure out being down here more so that I can be present. Kiowa, I think you need to get your son. Kimmy ain't happy in that house. Maurice ain't raising them. He ain't, girl, get your child. That whole thing, they need to be with the daddy, I get it. But if the daddy is active, that is a true statement. If the daddy is inactive and absent in the mind, like Maurice, girl, go get your child. Go get your child. He's 16. He ain't got but 2 more years. He done had enough of Maurice. Go get your child. That's what I think. Because ain't nobody happy. Your son not happy. Kimmy not happy. Neither Maurice. Go get your child, girl. Anyway, so then she gets on to the bigger issue and basically says that she felt some type of way because, she know how she felt in the past. She said, but what Kiowa didn't know was while you was battling me and Maurice, I was at the house battling Maurice, telling Maurice, she probably felt like this, or she probably felt like that, giving him the single mother perspective and the ex-wife perspective. Gaslighting 101, what? Girl, you are not about to sit across the table from me and tell me that while I was battling you for taking my husband and battling him for leaving me, that you was over there advocating for me. Girl, bye. Now, I'm not saying she didn't do it, but I'm just saying, don't tell me that, because in my mind, I feel like you gaslight me. I don't feel, because you were not acting in the best interest of Kiowa, because if you was, you probably wouldn't be married to her. To Maurice, I'm sorry. Because, like Kiowa said, we were divorced. If you were acting in the best interest of Kiowa, you wouldn't have taken that girl. Well, not taking him because he left. You would not have married Maurice. This is the thing. Kimmy is beloved on this show. Everybody knows that. Everybody loves Kimmy. Kimmy is the one that everybody likes. I like Kimmy, honestly. I think she's a cool person. But we speaking on this side chick situation. Kimmy, at the end of the day, you as a woman, as all women do, you want what you wanted and you went and took it. Period, poo. You went and took it. You didn't do your due diligence to investigate to see what was really happening. You took Maurice's word for it, who was probably playing both sides. He probably was for the most part. And you just took his word for it because you wanted that man and you took him. Period. You got him. But why are we on this roller coaster of I'm not a side chick? Who cares? He's your husband now. Why do we care? I don't really get this. This is really, really weird to me. But anyway, Kimmy feels like every time they take one step closer, they get knocked back 3 steps. But she said Maurice wanted her to talk to her, and that's why they here. She feels like they was in a good space, and they need to get back to that, instead of being in the place they was at the beginning. So now Kimmy get to telling this girl that she don't feel like it was right that Kiowa was basically insinuating that she was with him while they were still happily married. Girl, see, people smart about the words they use. You didn't say why y'all was married, because that that would be a true statement. Well, you was with him while we was married. You said happily married to try to make it seem like what you did wasn't that dirty. Kimmy, I love you, girl. I mean, I don't love you. I don't know you. I like you, girl. But at the end of the day, you're wrong. If we looking at it from a moral perspective, personally, I believe once y'all separate and it's over, I feel like you could date. I don't think that is nothing wrong with that. But you have to be honest about the situation and who you are and where you are in that situation. In the moral compass of it all, Kimmy, you are wrong. You were dating that man while he was still married. And to be honest, and quiet as it's kept, he probably was still over there creeping with Kaya when y'all first started kicking it. He probably was. But anyway, she feel like she ain't like that. Kaya insinuated that she was a side chick. And like Kaya said, girl, it ain't my fault. I don't even be on social media. The fans making their own, distinction and picking their sides and choosing how they feel. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't say nothing on social media. I don't do no interviews. I don't do none of that, girl. I stay out the way. This is not my problem. But Kimmy don't see it like that. Kimmy feels like, you should have said something and came out and said something because it's hurting her image and she don't feel like Kaya got integrity. Integrity? Where was the integrity when you were sleeping with that man when you knew he was married? Let's talk about it. Can we talk? Let's talk about it, Kimmy. Where was your integrity when you was sleeping and riding and hopping on top of that man's peen when you knew he was not happily married, but you knew he was married, period? Where was the integrity? It is not Kaya's job to clean up your image. I said this earlier in the video. It is not Kaya's job to set anything straight. It ain't even Kaya's job to speak on you at all. It's your job. You was with that man when he was married to her. And that's just that. You were a side chick. In 2023, that's not even a bad thing no more. I'm confused as to why we still harping on this. And the fact that you let Maurice buck you up to go down there and talk to this girl about some doggone being a side chick and all of this and all of that. And now you looking even more like a side chick. And now you trying to blame it on Kaya instead of looking at your husband and saying, you know what? You are the problem, not this girl, not me, not Monster. It's you, because everything is centered around you, Maurice. Instead of you doing that, no, you ain't gonna do that. What you gonna do? Blame it on Kaya. Well, girl, that's what black women do for their man, baby. They will blame it on Jesus before they hold their man accountable. Y'all know how they go, girl. Y'all know how they go. You will blame it on the Lord. Anyway, let's get into these screenshots that they put up there, and then we're going to get up out of here. So now the first tweet says, Maurice also uses Kaya against Kimmy because he knows Kaya does not like Kimmy. And Kaya has good reason to not like Kimmy. Kimmy was a side chick, and this is why Maurice will never defend Kimmy against Kaya or the side chick allegation. What was Kaya supposed to do? Whoever wrote this, you are smart, you are beautiful, you are intelligent, because you are absolutely right. This person got it on the doggone head. They hit it on the head because at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. He pitting them two together. He's in the middle of all of this stuff, and that's why we are where we are right now. Just period. Now the next one says, I believe Kimmy believes in her heart she wasn't because she was believing Maurice. We know he withholds things from her, and I believe he leads Kimmy to believe him. Him and Kaya were divorced when it wasn't finalized. I think Kimmy will learn that it will be the last straw. Girl, Kimmy ain't going nowhere. Kimmy ain't going nowhere. Y'all, let me say this and we gonna get out of here. Y'all drag Tisha for staying with Marcel. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You dragged Tisha for sticking by her man with all the allegations that was out there about big bag Marcel in the hotels and at the houses and all of that, and the suspected children. Y'all drug her. I'm gonna need y'all to keep the same energy for Kimmy, because Kimmy is sticking by her man, although he is the problem, and she knows that. Kimmy is a very intelligent woman, very articulate, she's very smart. Her intuition is probably through the damn roof. She knows what's going on, but she's gonna stand by her man, and that's just what it is. Girl, say what I said. I'm gonna need y'all to keep that same energy. All of these women have something in common. They men's ain't worth a dime. Say what I said. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all feel about this episode. Again, nothing I said, none of my commentary was to be against nobody. It's just the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts, and when it hurts, that's when you know it's the truth. Say what I said. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Share, all that other good stuff. And I will see you hoes later. Bye.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.